Good morning, everybody. Everybody doing this morning? Boy, people, I can't but I get up, go sit down at the window this morning, yeah, man, because I want to lay down and stretch out my body. But good morning. Hope everybody's having a great morning. Hope everybody had a great night. Don't forget it's April Fool's Day, and I bet nobody trick on it today. Okay? All right. So here we are this morning again. Oh, my word. OMG. We are here again this morning doing what we do at this time of the morning. Yeah? Kadoy. Mr. Cad, Mr. Me tormented last night, you say, Mr. Mighty Jesus, boy. Me say, me tormented last night is a shame. Could I fall asleep? Yesterday, me don't know, I must because me never did go sleep at the right time yesterday. Cause me run up and down, do a kind of thing. Then me come back, try to go to sleep. Could I fall asleep, people? My word. I couldn't fall asleep. Me try to fall asleep. When I finally fell asleep, I must have been about 6 o'clock. About 6 o'clock in the evening was when I finally fell asleep. And then I woke up like 11 o'clock in the night. I couldn't go back to sleep. Me they are tormented, couldn't go back to sleep. I didn't go back to sleep until after 4. And then me just wake up not too long. This is my word. But good morning, people. I may not be able to sleep, but I don't feel no problem. Me just a tell you now. Okay, people. We are going to continue. We're going to continue with this. We're going to continue riding this Bible horse until the wheels fall off. Trust me. Because there's a lot to cover. There's a lot to cover. And though we have gone through the entire book before, we still have a long way to go. Because even though I've read the Bible now twice, I've read it in its entirety, there is still so much. There's so much that you don't remember. It is a lot. And I understand perfectly why people who claim Christianity and people who claim to uphold Christianity and people who preach Christianity don't be bothered to read the Bible. I understand perfectly well. If you try to read it and you start coming across text, stories, concepts that you realize are contradictory to the actual story, you might get frustrated. Of course, yes. You may get frustrated, because here you are upholding this ideology of love and grace and peace and forgiveness. And then when you are reading the Bible, you are met with all the devious acts that they are displaying, and they say this is their God, the same God who you have been indoctrinated to believe upholds love and grace and peace and all this. And then in the Bible, you come across these concepts of him being so brutal. I certainly understand why you would become disheartened, because I am human and you are too. Yeah. So I understand why people just resort to using a verse here or a verse there to create a whole sermon around, a sermon that involves human experiences, because the majority of the experiences that are talked about in the Bible, they seem all fabricated, because those are experiences that no human you have ever seen has ever experienced. So I understand the challenges that exist when it comes to reading, understanding, believing, and moving forward with the contents of the Bible. But we are also being taught not to be critical of the things we read in the Bible, no matter how terrible they are, no matter how many questions we have. We are being taught not to ask any of those questions, because asking those questions equates to blasphemy and will result in our death and destruction and all of that. So we are being brainwashed in an effort for us to be controlled so that we don't ask any questions. And a lot of us still live like that. No, sir, me not question the Bible. No, sir, me no want dead. Listen, death is something that we are all going to experience. Whether you question the Bible or you not question the Bible. No matter how you live, and no matter what, death is something. So nobody can threaten you, say, oh, you're going to die if you quit. Nobody should be able to threaten you. You shouldn't succumb to that. Okay? But anyway, it's what it was instilled in us from we were younger. Now we are adults. We even take it more seriously. People say, "Oh, you're not gonna go to heaven. Go to what heaven? You're not gonna go to heaven. You're gonna go to hell, a place." These are ideologies that were created in order to support a particular narrative. And until we get to that place where we do unto others as we would like to be done unto us, and not be bamboozled by the ideology that when we die, we're going to go to some place called heaven or some place called hell. By the way, places that no human being can definitively and irrefutably provide evidence of their existence. Yet, we become so deathly afraid of these concepts that we act out of our human character, if you will, because we're so afraid of something that is not even real, something that don't even exist, something that nobody can come and say to you, you know what, I went there, I've experienced it. People be saying they're Christians, and oh, I dreamt I was in heaven and God was there. And this is like John. That's like John saying, oh, I had a dream. And people say, oh, yes, John saw it. This is what John saw. Nonsense, people. Just live in the reality, please, and stop with the fantasy. But anywho, with that being said, I know I might be talking to stones because people will be like, oh, what Trevor is talking about, or whatever. Oh, this. True Passion, what's up? How you doing, love? Good to see you. Good morning. And everybody else who is here. Good morning, guy. Chucks, what's up? Good morning, everybody. If me not seeing you, it's because I have the green screen on. Because I just refuse to get up out of the bed. Y'all gonna just have to work with me today. All right. Okay, so this morning we are going to continue with the reading. We're going to finish the reading of Jeremiah and move on to Lamentation. Now I was reading yesterday. For those of you who were here when we were reading yesterday, yeah, I said I was going to complete the reading of Jeremiah yesterday, but I didn't because I know somebody tired from working the night shift. And as I was reading, I noticed that I was forgetting even the verse that I had read prior. And I was like, that spells being tired. That spells wanting to sleep. So I stopped before finishing the book of Jeremiah. But we are going to recap a little bit of what we read yesterday. For those of you who are just coming, yeah, you are on my channel, the channel of Trev from Trevessence. If you are here on TikTok or you're here on YouTube, I sincerely appreciate you. Now, we have taken on this journey again, I may say, to try to read and understand what is going on in the Bible, and not just to read it verse by verse, but to read the stories and to try to understand what exactly was going on in those stories. And this story that we are currently reading, the story of Jeremiah, what Jeremiah said, God told him, Jeremiah is one of those people who Christians revere. Christians always talk about Jeremiah being the greatest prophet. As we've been reading the book of Jeremiah, however, we have come to a different understanding, I may say. And I'm going to go over the story of Jeremiah just a little bit. And please understand that I'm human. I may leave out a little bit of detail, either deliberately or unconsciously. But I'm going to share with you my understanding of the book of Jeremiah so far. Okay? So Jeremiah claims that God came to him and God told him he wanted him to go to the north and preach to the Jews who had gone up there, the Israelites who had abandoned him from Israel and they had gone to the north. He wanted him to go up there, preach to them, and encourage them to come back to rehabilitate Israel. The the um the thing though with Jeremiah at the time, Jeremiah said he was a child. He told God he was a child. He couldn't possibly do that. He wouldn't know what to say to the people. He said God touched his lips and said he put the words in his mouth, and the words that he was gonna say, and he know people were going to like mock him and not want to believe him, but he shouldn't worry about them because God was going to be with him and he was going to provide him with the words to say. In the same breath, God told Jeremiah how angry he was at the people for having gone and worshipped other gods, namely Baal. Now the people were worshiping Baal. They were practicing the customs of the gods of the people who lived around them, but not the Jewish custom. And God was so incensed. He was so angry. He wanted Jeremiah to bring the people back to Jerusalem so he could punish them. He wanted to punish them on this same land that he had given to their forefathers. Okay? Jeremiah preached his preach, did his talk, was able to bring a lot of people back. Jeremiah continued preaching to the people. He told the people that God said he was going to punish them. He's going to punish them for what they did, but he also loved them and he wanted them to continue to inhabit this land that he had given them. He had given to their forefathers, but he was going to punish them so severely that future generations would never forget him. They would not forget that he was the one who brought their foreparents out of Egypt, and that this punishment would serve as a reminder of future generations that they should remain loyal to him, or else they could face the same punishment. So anyway, he told them as well that God said he was going to use his servant Nebuchadnezzar out of Babylon to come up and to destroy Israel and to take the people captive and to slay the prophets, the priests, the kings, and all the noble men. And this was what Jeremiah preached to the people in Jerusalem and Judah. Eventually, Nebuchadnezzar did come up, and his army did come up, and his army destroyed Israel, took everything that was valuable, took the educated men, the astrologers, the musicians, the priests. He took everybody who he believed could contribute positively to his society, and then some. Then he took all the people. And Jeremiah, while all this was going on, the people were looking to Jeremiah for spiritual guidance. And Jeremiah told the people, God said they should leave what they have and go voluntarily to go serve Nebuchadnezzar. And I found it to be quite odd, because this is the same God who is upset that the people are worshiping Baal. And down there in Babylon, that's what they do. They don't worship this Israel God. They worship their own Baal and whatever else gods they worship down there. And here is God telling the Jeremiah to tell the people to go down to Babylon to go serve Nebuchadnezzar and to go assimilate themselves into that culture. Go build houses, go plant gardens, go have your children marry, go intermarry with them and have children and all of this. Like, are you serious that God would tell the Israelites to do that? Well, that was what Jeremiah said, and a lot of people believed him, and several others were concerned because they were like, what Jeremiah is saying is not in alignment with our beliefs. This doesn't sound right. Certainly it didn't sound right. Not at all. That God would be angry at them for serving this quote unquote false God, and yet he was going to tell them to surrender and go to Babylon, where they will indeed be forced to serve this God, Baal. So it didn't seem right at all. But because they believed Jeremiah, they went ahead, and those who opposed what Jeremiah was telling them God said they should do, they ended up getting killed. Zedekiah the king, his eyes were plucked out by Ishmael, and a few of the people got to escape before the city was burnt to nothing. And the people who escaped after the city was burnt, everybody was carried away. They wanted to come back to come live in their land. So they consulted Jeremiah again. Like, what God's saying about us coming back to rehabilitate Israel, to us coming back to our land, to our homeland. And Jeremiah told the people, God said, the wrath that he has, the fury that he has against them, if they if they continue to go to Egypt, because the people wanted to know whether they could go to Egypt. And why Egypt? Egypt was closer. Egypt, at the time, Egypt was prosperous. There was peace in Egypt. There wasn't any wars. The people were tired of the war. And if you notice it, their country was always at war. But their prophet Jeremiah would, his justification for all this war and all this mayhem was that this is what their God wanted to happen to them. So you wouldn't understand why the people would have turned their backs on this God. Like, if this is my God and this is what he wants for me, death and destruction, if that's what he wants for me, then I got questions. And the people were justified in having those questions. Jeremiah told the people when they asked what God's plans for them was, he told them that God said if they went to Egypt, he would continue to enact revenge against them. They would die by famine, pestilence, or by the sword, just like they had escaped from Israel. Now, that was disheartening to the people. And the people told Jeremiah, well, in that case, we're not coming back. Now, you all tell me if that wouldn't be fair. Jeremiah says to them, if you leave this destitution in Israel and you go down to Egypt, the same destitution that you leave here in Israel is going to meet you down there in Egypt. But when you look at what's going on in Egypt, there is peace, there's prosperity, you have food, you basically can live free. You don't have to worry about somebody coming to burn down your house or whatever. Wouldn't you choose to go to Israel, to go to Egypt? I know I would. Because it's like 6 of one half dozen of the other. If me stay here, he's going to slay me with famine and pestilence or the sword. And if I go to Egypt, he's still going to follow me with that same level of destruction. But in Egypt, at least I will be able to live a few days in peace. So let me go. And then Jeremiah turned around when the people say they don't believe in him anymore. They don't think he's telling them the truth because everything he's showing them is just pure destruction. Then he tells the people, oh, okay, you don't want to believe me. Well, God tell me if I put this stone down here, so in Tapanes. That was one of the places where the few Jews had gone to inhabit down there in Egypt. Jeremiah gonna tell the people. God told him to come put some stone there in front of the prophet's house, and how God was going to bring up Nebuchadnezzar's army and all the things that the army was going to do to these people. And then he went on to name all these other countries around that had welcomed escaping Jews. He went on to name them, that God gave him these messages for these people, how he's going to destroy these people. Just having the people being strangled by fear day after day after day. And I don't know how anybody could accept that as this viable religion, that every day you wake up is just constant destruction day after day. He went on to tell the people, God told him God is going to use Nebuchadnezzar again to destroy the city of Moab, to destroy the city of the Ammonites, to destroy Edom. And what bothered me was that he even said that these people were not worshiping him. And that right there struck me enough to concretize my whole belief that Jeremiah is a fraud. Because when you look at it, the Ammonites, let's go back a little bit. The Ammonites, remember Ammon was one of the sons that was born from Lot having that incestuous relationship with his daughter. And I'm not even going to say incestuous, because it wasn't consensual on his part. If you all remember the story of Sodom and Gomorrah when it was burnt down, and Lot and two of his daughters had escaped, while they were over there in the cave at Zoar, there wasn't anybody there with them. It was just the three of them. And so the daughters were old enough to have children, but they saw it as them being in that cave with just their dad. They thought, well, there's no way that we're going to be able to continue our generations if we don't get to have children, and there's no man here. It's just us and our dad. So may as well we go ahead and assault him so that we can get pregnant and have children to continue our generation. And that's what the daughters did. They assaulted their dad in that fashion, and they both had children. One had a son named Moab, and the other had a son named Ammon. Now during the time, if you read about the instructions of Moses to the children of Israel, they were being instructed never to associate with the Ammonites. That's the descendants of Ammon. Never to have children with them, even though they were who they were. It was like this great curse that was on them, on the Ammonites and the Moabites. So they were discouraged from being with them for it was 10 or 13 generations. They were not supposed to associate with them. But they did not have the same doctrine that the other Jews had, that they got from Moses. The people over there enough. So I don't understand how comes Jeremiah was saying that God was so angry that these people were worshiping Baal and not worshiping him, when that was now their culture. It's just that a few Jews had been accepted over in those countries because those Jews were running away from Israel, from the destruction that this God was pelting on Israel. But anyway, I tell you all that Jeremiah was a plant by Nebuchadnezzar. That's what I believe. Because if you notice, All these countries that he was claiming that God was telling him he was going to destroy, he always says Nebuchadnezzar will take over these countries. So my question has been, why was it that God was being so faithful? Now this Jewish God was being so faithful to Nebuchadnezzar, but not so faithful to the people he said was his people. That was my question. And Nebuchadnezzar, if you are remembering the story, after he had burnt and destroyed Israel, and he had implanted his own governor there, Gedaliah, he made sure to set up maximum security for Jeremiah. He told him to protect Jeremiah at all costs, give Jeremiah anything he wanted, and don't let even the hair on Jeremiah's head hurt. Now, what would it be that Nebuchadnezzar would have so much respect all of a sudden for somebody like Jeremiah? Do you all see the correlation there? Jeremiah preached in favor of Nebuchadnezzar because I believe, I mean, I don't know who will convince me otherwise. I believe that there was an agreement that Jeremiah would do this in order to get the people, in order to get Nebuchadnezzar to dispossess the Jews of Israel so he could take control of it. But then we come to the end of the book of Jeremiah. And close to the end of the book, Jeremiah starts to say that God tells him that it was some kind of a trick. It was some kind of a trick that he tricked Nebuchadnezzar into destroying Israel and gaining it as a possession. But now God was going to destroy Babylon and the people were going to be allowed to go back to Israel. And I'm like, what kind of confusion is this? What is the benefit? What is going on here? What is the benefit for God to cause Israel to be destroyed, the people to be taken captive into Babylon, and then now he's going to say, oh, it was a trick? We're going to continue reading the book of Jeremiah. We're going to go back a chapter or two from what we had read yesterday and read so that the story can flow. But remember, just before we finished the reading yesterday, that's where we were at, where Jeremiah was telling the people that this is what he said. He said God told him. So it is. When you say to me, Trev, it's a bunch of confusion, that's why I don't bother to read the Bible. I agree with you that it is indeed a bunch of confusion. And because it is, that is why I may read it. That is why. Yeah, that is why I read it. Because, you know, the preachers and people who like to preach and teach about the Bible, they like when you're confused, you know. They like when you're confused because then they get to confuse you some more. They like when you don't read it for yourself. Because when you don't read it for yourself, you can't tell them anything they're telling you is not true. You can't hold a conversation with them about what they are telling you. All you do is accept. Because you ain't read it for yourself. So you don't have an argument. Yeah, I'm not like that. Me don't want that. I want to have an argument in the conversation. So that is why I choose to read the Bible for myself. Okay? So right now, this morning here, we are going to start at we start back at chapter 40. Let us start back at chapter 48. We're 48 there. All right. We're going to go back to chapter 48. And from there, no, from 47. We're going to go back to chapter 47. And from there, we are going to read unto the end of the book of Jeremiah. All right. If me not calling on name, because me not see you know. Me say Kev, what's up? Me say Sunflower, Nekisha, and others. All right. So we're going to read Jeremiah 47 and onwards. 47 says, the word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah the prophet against the Philistines before that Pharaoh smote Gaza. Thus said the Lord, behold, waters rise up out of the north, and shall be an overflowing flood, and shall overflow the land and all that is therein, the city and them that dwell therein. Then the men shall cry, and all the inhabitants of the land shall howl. At the noise of the stamping of the hoofs of his strong horses, at the rushing of his chariots, and at the rumbling of his wheels, the fathers shall not look back to their children for feebleness of hands, because of the day that comes to spoil all the Philistines, and to cut off from Tyrus and Zidon every helper that remains. For the Lord will spoil the Philistines, the remnant of the country of Caphtor. Baldness is come upon Gaza. Ashkelon is cut off with the remnant of their valley. How long wilt thou cut thyself? O thou sword of the Lord, how long will it be ere thou be quiet? Put up thyself into thy scabbard, rest and be still. How can it be quiet, seeing the Lord hath given it to charge against Ashkelon and against the seashore? There hath he appointed it. That's the end of Jeremiah 47. All right. We're going to move right along into Jeremiah 48. Against Moab, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, woe unto Nebo, for it is spoiled. Kiriathaim is confounded and taken. Misgab is confounded and dismayed. There shall be no more praise of Moab. In Heshbon they have devised evil against it. Come, and let us cut it off from being a nation. Also thou shalt be cut down, O madmen. The sword shall pursue thee. A voice of crying shall be from Horonaim, spoiling and great destruction. Moab is destroyed, her little ones have caused the cry to be heard. For in the going up of Luhith, continual weeping shall go up. For in the going down of Horonaim, the enemies have heard a cry of destruction. Flee, save your lives, and be like the heath in the wilderness. For because thou hast trusted in thy words and in thy treasures, thou shalt also be taken. And Chemosh shall go forth into captivity with his priests and his priests together. All right, so these are the countries, these are countries and cities that are round about this place. Andrea, good morning, love bug. How you doing? So these are countries and cities that are round about, you know, they are they are in close proximity to Israel. They're round about close proximity to Babylon. And here, Jeremiah and his army and his Babylonian army are determined to conquer more territory for Nebuchadnezzar. And he is using his, I'm going to say, his authority as a prophet to bamboozle the people into giving up their land so Nebuchadnezzar can get it. And he's using God, just like how them use God right now. Just like how them use God right now and dispossess people. See Marvin Sapp use God dispossess no have no money. In a church pastor come talk about shut door. And don't leave until him get $40,000. Why pastor not say shut him out and him not going to stop and he not open him out until everybody in the church is able to buy them night's dinner? Why I never said that? Until every picnic in the church is allowed to go to school and is taken out of poverty. Why I never said that? And only like some big old papi show. Sit down in a church, give this man $40,000 in a one night, and then him talk about, oh, the money is not for him, the money is for the continuation of the gospel. Listen, you all continue to have yourselves being bamboozled by these people, just like Jeremiah. See how Jeremiah bamboozled the people them? Jeremiah bamboozled the people them left and right in the name of who? Okay, you guessed it. Okay. Let me continue, because I don't want me start, especially upon these old thieving pastors. And not only that, not even the pastor, them me not blame. Me I blame uno. Me I blame uno. With no foolishness. Giving these pastors all in a life. Uno continue to give pastors all this money. And uno never get back no return on it. Uno never ever be without a night's dinner and be able to go ask pastor for your night dinner. Pastor drive past and splash up dirty water pound in a Chris car and gone about him business. And uno pay every single day. And pastor tell you say it's easier for your camel go in the eye of a needle than for a rich man. But yet still pastor down here rich no batch. And you down here broke and destitute. And pastor down here I live nice and well. And pastor tell you say you not gonna live nice and well until after you dead. And you accept that. You know, sister, yeah, papi sure. But let me go on read here. Let me go on read. If all the riches that is worth anything is gonna be had after death, Mel tell pastor say make the whole we be poor down here. Make the whole we wait for that riches afterwards. Why him gotta be this rich? And I gotta be this poor, but the two of us expect to inherit the same kind of riches after. That means a pastor gonna get double. Pastor gonna get two riches. Excuse me. Pastor gonna get riches in this life and riches in the next. And then pastor give me the one that nobody can prove is true. And me accept it. May that be a real papi show. But anyway, let's just continue reading. So here Jeremiah is saying, you know, all these countries around about. Yeah, God tell him he's going to take all these countries because all these countries are going to go under the rule of Nebuchadnezzar. And the spoiler. Hold on, let me continue. I'm at verse 8 of chapter 48, if you are wondering. Lovely. Mervin, what's up? And the spoiler shall come upon every city, and no city shall escape. The valley also shall perish, and the plain shall be destroyed, as the Lord had spoken. I want to know if you take note, you know, every time I say as the Lord has spoken, I want to hear what Jeremiah said the Lord say. Okay? Don't say me say it, I out of the Bible, may I read it. The Lord said, give wings unto Moab, that it may flee and get away. For the cities of Moab shall be desolate, without any to dwell in it. Cursed be he that does the work of the Lord deceitfully. And cursed be he that keeps back his sword from blood. All right. Moab hath been at ease from his youth, and he hath settled on his lees. and hath not been emptied from vessel to vessel, neither hath he gone into captivity. Therefore his taste remained in him, and his scent is not changed. Now, wanna see, wanna hear that, what Jeremiah said yesterday. All right. Moab has been one of those countries that has remained pristine, if you will. Moab is one of those countries because it was customary back in those days that um, strong countries would go around and destroy smaller countries and try to take them as their territory and displace the people and just cause pure chaos. You know, it was all this land grabbing and all of that. But Moab was one of those countries that had been able to protect itself. Moab was one of those countries that was able to keep the invaders at bay. They weren't able to come up and destroy the people like many of the other countries had experienced prior. So now Jeremiah say, God say, that shouldn't be anymore. That Moab, having not experienced pillaging and all that. But you're right, not just back then, but even now. You are right, my love. You are right. It's happening even now. But here he's saying that Moab was one of those countries that had not been changed. No outside government have come and toppled over their their rulers and taken them over. So they have remained pristine in that regard. And God says no more. How comes them remain pristine? They must experience some of the hardship that has befallen the other countries as well. So he says, Moab hath been at ease from his youth, and he has settled on his lees, and hath not been emptied from vessel to vessel, neither hath he gone into captivity. Therefore his taste remained in him, and his scent is not changed. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will send unto him wanderers, that shall cause him to wander, and shall empty his vessels and break his bottles. And Moab shall be ashamed of Shemosh, as the house of Israel was ashamed of Bethel, their confidence. How say ye, we are mighty and strong men for the war? Moab is spoiled and gone up out of her cities, and his chosen young men are gone down to the slaughter, said the king, whose name is the Lord of hosts. The calamity of Moab is near to come, and his affliction hasteth fast. All ye that are about him bemoan him, and all thee that know his name say, how is the strong staff broken, and the beautiful rod? Thou daughter that dost inhabit Dibon, come down from thy glory, and sit in thirst. For the spoiler of Moab shall come upon thee, and he shall destroy thy young holes, thy strong holes. O inhabitant of Aurora, stand by the way and espy. Ask him that flee, and ask her that escape, and say, what is done? Moab is confounded, for it is broken down. Howl and cry. Tell ye it in Arnon, that Moab is spoiled, and judgment is come upon the plain country, upon Holon, and upon Jehazzah, and upon Mephath, and upon Dibon, and upon Nebo, and upon Beth Diblathaim, and upon Kiriathaim, and upon Beth Gamul, and upon Beth Mayon. And these places, my friends, are cities. These are cities round about in Moab. Okay? Let's continue. and upon Kerethaim, and upon Beth Gamul, and upon Beth Mayon, and upon Kerioth, and upon Bozrah, and upon all the cities of the land of Moab, far and near. The horn of Moab is cut off, and his arm is broken, saith the Lord. Make ye him drunken, for he magnified himself against the Lord. Moab also shall wallow in his vomit, and he also shall be in derision. For was not Israel a derision unto thee? Was he found among thieves? For since thou spakest of him, thou skipped for joy. O he that dwell in Moab, leave the cities. You hear Jeremiah, this is the same story he told the people of Israel to leave and go and voluntarily serve Nebuchadnezzar. Now he's talking to about the Moabites. He says, O he that dwell in Moab, leave the cities and dwell in the rock, and be like the drove that makes her nest in the sides of the hole's mouth. We have heard the pride of Moab. He is exceedingly proud. His loftiness and his arrogance and his pride and his haughtiness of his heart. I know his wrath, saith the Lord. But it shall not be so. His lies shall not so effect it. Therefore will I howl for Moab, and I will cry out for all Moab. My heart shall mourn for the men of Kirheres. O vine of Sibmah, I will weep for thee with the weeping of Jazer. Thy plants are gone over the sea. They reach over to the sea of Jazer. The spoiler is fallen upon thy summer fruits and upon thy vintage. And joy and gladness is taken from the plentiful field and from the land of Moab. And I have caused wine to fall from the winepresses. None shall tread with shouting. Their shouting shall be no shouting. From the cry of Heshbon, even unto Elieleh, and even unto Jahaz, have they uttered their voice, from Zoar even unto Horonaim, as an heifer of 3 years old, for the waters also of Nimrim shall be desolate. I got this. Jeremiah say, I got this sit down a plan the destruction of Moab, God, this Jeremiah say, is sitting there and planning the destruction of Moab. He gonna make the men, he gonna make the men stand out at the edge of the city, and when the women are leaving, are running, anybody running and trying to escape, they're going to determine who they allow to escape and who they allow not to escape. And it's all this army. Where you think this army that's going to destroy Moab is from? Where do you think this army is from? This is Jeremiah with his Nebuchadnezzar army. But let us continue. Moreover, I will cause to cease in Moab, saith the Lord, him that offered in the high places, and him that burns incense to his gods. Okay? Therefore, my heart shall sound for Moab like pipes, and my heart shall sound like pipes for the men of Kirheres, because the riches that he hath gotten are perished. For every head shall be bald, and every beard clipped. Upon all the hands shall be cuttings, and upon the loins sackcloth. There shall be lamentations generally upon all the housetops of Moab, and in the streets of Moab. For I have broken Moab like a vessel, wherein is no pleasure. Hold on. Watch out. Why the phone hear me and start talk? Okay? So when here God is sitting there according to Jeremiah. God is sitting there with him planning the destruction of Moab. He says he's going to make it destroyed, just like how he destroyed Israel. Let's continue. He says, there shall be lamentation generally upon all the housetops of Moab, and in the streets thereof. For I have broken Moab like a vessel, wherein is no pleasure, said the Lord. They shall howl, saying, how is it broken down? How hath Moab turned back with shame? So shall Moab be a derision and a dismaying to all them about him. For thus saith the Lord, behold, he that fly as an eagle, and shall spread his wings over Moab, Kerioth is taken, and the strongholds are surprised. And the mighty men's heart in Moab at that day shall be as the heart of a woman who is in labor. And, that is how he's going to listen. The women are going to be crying. The men of the country of Moab are going to be crying just like a woman in labor. And Moab shall be destroyed from being a people, because he hath magnified himself against the Lord. So this is the destruction where the Lord have in store for Moab, because he says the people have magnified themselves against him. The people are basically living their lives. To me, it just seems quite odd. It just seems quite odd that the destruction from this God is never enough. The destruction is never enough. But let me continue. Verse 43 said, fair and the pit and the snare shall be upon thee, O inhabitants of Moab, saith the Lord. When I say saith the Lord, I want you all to understand. Right, Kat? Thank you, darling. I appreciate you. When you hear that, this is what, when I say saith the Lord, you all listen to what the Lord has said. Okay? According to Jeremiah. He that flees from the fair shall fall into the pit, and he that gets up out of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For I will bring upon it, even upon Moab, the year of their visitation, said the Lord. They that fled stood under the shadow of Heshbon because of the force. But a fire shall come forth out of Heshbon, and a flame from the midst of Sion, and shall devour the corner of Moab, and the crown of the head of the tumultuous ones. Woe be unto thee, O Moab! The people of Shemosh perish, for thy sons are taken captives, and thy daughters are taken captives. Yet will I bring again the captivity of Moab in the latter days, saith the Lord. Thus far is the judgment of Moab. How interesting. That is the end of chapter 48. We're going to move on to chapter 49. Let us continue. Concerning the Ammonites. All right, so I'm done with Moab now. I'm done talking about Moab. He has told them he's going to utterly destroy Moab. He's going to destroy the people, take them captive, kill the strong people. He's going to do the same thing like what they did to Israel in Jerusalem and Judah. It's basically, he's going to do the same thing to Moab. Now he moves on to the country of Ammon. Now this Ammon is Moab's brother. They are of the same father. Lot is their father. Okay? And his two daughters are their mothers. All right? So he moves on now to Ammon. Concerning the Ammonites, this is what the Lord says. Hath Israel no sons? Hath he no heir? Why then doth their king inherit God? And this God is that country. the country GAD. Okay. Why then doth their king inherit God, and his people dwell in his cities? Therefore, behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will cause an alarm of war to be heard in Rabbah of the Ammonites, and it shall be a desolate heap, and her daughters shall be burnt with fire. Then shall Israel be heir unto them that were his ears, said the Lord. Howl, O Heshbon, for Ai is spoiled. Remember, we talked about that before. The country of Ai. It is actually spelled AI. Okay? For Ai is spoiled. Some people pronounce it IE, but yeah, is spoiled. He daughters of Rabbah, gird you with sackcloth, lament and run to and fro by the edges, for their king shall go into captivity, and his priests and his princes together. Wherefore, gloriest thou in the valleys, thy flowing valley, O backsliding daughter, that trust in her treasures, saying, who shall come unto me? Behold, I will bring a fear upon thee, said the Lord God of hosts, from all those that be about thee, and he shall be driven out every man right forth, and none shall gather up him that wanders. And verse 6. And afterwards I will bring again the captivity of the children of Ammon, said the Lord. Concerning Edom, now he's moving on. Okay. So you see, he's moving from country to country with the same energy of utter destruction. He destroyed Moab. Now he's moving on to Ammon. Now that Ammon is destroyed, he's moving on to Edom. And over there in Edom, for those of you who don't know, that is the place of Esau. That's where Esau went to live and to raise his family. So the people of Edom, the Edomites, are the descendants of Esau, Jacob's brother. Okay? So now Jeremiah is over there now to destroy the people. They are basically cousins, because remember, Jeremiah is a descendant, he's a Benjaminite, he's a descendant of Jacob. And Jacob and Esau were brothers. So here he gone over to Esau's place for destruction. Again, he says, concerning Edom, thus said the Lord of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. And you all remember the calamity that Esau faced, right? Oh, so he's threatening to bring the calamity of Esau onto the descendants of Esau who live over there in Edom. Is this storyline, let me see what I say. Is this storyline repeating the same destruction over and over? Where is peace? No negotiation with each city. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. There is no negotiation with the cities. Jeremiah is on a roll to destroy these countries. To get the people to either surrender or be killed. Jeremiah is working with Nebuchadnezzar. But the thing is, Jeremiah is the one who is orchestrating the destruction in the name of the Lord. Because you see, he's going with this Nebuchadnezzar army from country to country. And everything he says in the name of the Lord. Thus said the Lord. The Lord tell him all these things. And so he's orchestrating it. You look over Moab. The Moabites were living peacefully, minding their own business. You hear what him said, the Lord say? He says, the Lord says, look at the Moabites. They have never been taken into slavery. They have never been toppled. Their government have never been toppled. They have been living pristine. So they have never experienced the destruction that other countries around them have experienced. So clearly the Moabites were standing strong, because if you read the Bible where it talks about the Moabite over and over, they seem to have been fierce fighters. They don't wait for somebody to strike them. They strike first. They were fierce defenders of their country and their way of life. So here comes Jeremiah now talk about how God says the Moabites were never destroyed before. They don't know what it is like to be destroyed. So I guess now is their turn to feel what all the other countries around them have felt at some point in their history. So it's time to change the storyline for the Moabites. So I am with you, Andrea. The story not spreading is just pure destruction. Pure destruction. So let us continue. He says concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. If grape gatherers come to thee, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they have enough. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. Leave thy fatherless children, I will preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me. For thus saith the Lord, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. And art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. For I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord, that Bozrah shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities of Bozrah shall be perpetual wastes. I have heard a rumor from the Lord. The Lord mixed up in a bangarang. Okay? Jeremiah said, I have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent unto the heathen, saying, gather ye together, and come against her, and rise up to the battle. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen, and despised among men. Thy terribleness hath deceived thee, and the pride of thy heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill. Though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from there, saith the Lord. This God of Jeremiah is out for nothing but destruction. But let us continue. Also Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. As in the overthrown of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the neighboring cities, saith the Lord, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan against the habitation of the strong, but I will suddenly make him run away from her. And who is a chosen man, that I may appoint over her? For who is like me? And who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord, that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. The earth is moved at the noise of their fall, at the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Behold, he shall come up and fly as an eagle, and spread his wings over Bozrah. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in labor. Him a go reduce them to nothing. Okay? Obviously, this a God not like peace. Obviously, not like peace. He not like to see people living together peacefully, minding their own business, going about their life in peace. According to Jeremiah, he don't like to see that. So if you're living in peace, you ain't bothering nobody, you maintaining your culture, your people, and your country is at peace, everybody living in peace, minding their own business, then this God will come out of nowhere and he's going to just start destroying everybody left and right. There's got to be chaos left and right. Why? Why? What's his objective? What is his point? Let me continue. I don't want to get carried away with all that I'm thinking right now. Let me continue. Now he has moved on to Damascus. So here he outlining his plan for all these countries. They're going to destroy them. He's going to destroy Moab. He's going to destroy Ammon. He's going to destroy Edom. He's going to destroy what is other country name? Damascus. He's moving from country to country, just utter destruction roundabout. All right. Now him say, concerning Damascus, Hamath is confounded, and Arpad, for they have heard evil tidings. They are faint-hearted. There is sorrow on the sea. It cannot be quiet. Damascus is waxed feeble, and turns herself to flee, and fear hath seized her. Anguish and sorrows have taken her as a woman in labor. How is the city of praise not left, the city of my joy? Therefore her young men shall fall in her streets, and all the men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord of hosts. And the Lord Jeremiah says to them things. Yes. A true man. Look like I get one heart attack over Jeremiah. Because my word, man. My word. And I don't understand how people would have read the book of Jeremiah and come away saying Jeremiah was the greatest prophet. Have you all lost your minds? Jeremiah was what kind of greatest prophet? Jeremiah was a devil. He was a demon. He was a crook. He was no honest man. But let me continue. Therefore her young men shall fall in her streets, and all the men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord of hosts. And I will kindle a fire in the wall of Damascus, and it shall consume the palaces of Ben-Hadad. Concerning Kedar, now he has said what his plans are for Damascus. Now he's moving to Kedar. Jesus, my God, the destruction is overwhelming. He says, concerning Kedar and concerning the kingdoms of Hazor, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon shall smite. Want to hear that? Which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon shall smite. Thus saith the Lord, arise ye, go up to Kedar, and spoil the men of the east. Their tents and their flocks shall they take away. They shall take to themselves their curtains, and all their vessels, and their camels, and they shall cry unto them. Fear is on every side. Flee, get you far off, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Azor, saith the Lord. For Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon hath taken counsel against you, and hath conceived a purpose against you. Arise, get you up unto the wealthy nation that dwells without care, saith the Lord, which have neither gates nor bars, which dwell alone, and their camels shall be a booty, and the multitude of their cattle a spoil, and I will scatter into all winds them that are in the uttermost corners, and I will bring their calamity from all sides, therefore, saith the Lord. All right, so let me see somebody ask us. All right, we stop at verse 33. We're going to start again at verse 33. Let me see what somebody asked, Kasha. Did God sit on his throne and really see all this destruction? Did he give approval? God could have done this by himself. Great question. Great question. I am so confused at this destruction. You are not alone, my love. You are not alone. That has been my question. Like, if God is almighty, all powerful, and knows everything, and he's everywhere all the time, and sees what everybody is doing, and knows what everybody is going to do and say before they do it, how comes God needs the army of Nebuchadnezzar to destroy these cities? How comes? I am with you when you ask about all this destruction. All of this destruction, according to Jeremiah, is what God tell him to do. So you are not the only one confused. I am utterly dismayed at all of this destruction that is supposedly coming from this God. This God who is supposed to be the God of love and peace and grace and understanding. I have read here this morning nothing from this God that exhibits any of those beautiful traits. It is all death, destruction, conniving, plotting, all of it, just bloodletting. Just a bunch. Trevor, good morning, love bug. How are you doing? Just a bunch of bloodletting in all the countries, and he's going from country to country, just destroying the people left and right. But I know me say it, people. It is out of the Bible. Remember, I know me. In our Bible, Dervan. You know, so me day here. Me day here, wake up in the morning here. At least I'm vertical. Yeah. I hope everything is good with you, my love. So I'm over here reading the Bible, reading the destruction in the Bible, you know. I'm over here sharing the good word of destruction. Me laugh, but I know because I want to laugh a serious thing. A serious thing. But make we go and read it, Andrea. Let us go and read it. Somebody said, give his brand full money. I get done. So I forgive. What you say? Thanks, Jesus. Oh, you just get to work. You like when we do the reading? Oh! I thank you, my love. Yeah, me have to do the reading. I realize that people are actually enjoying the reading because, you know, say a lot of people really don't read the Bible. They just assume that because they were taught that the Bible is the book that they should read and follow, they just assume that everything in the Bible is good and great. Yeah. And I tell you all this. It is from my curiosity and my diligence in wanting to be a good, upright follower of Christ that I decided to read the Bible myself. And boy, oh boy, instead of it bringing me closer, it sends me further away. Because I'm not in all this death and destruction. Not at all. Not at all. Too much death and destruction for me. This is not my thing. Right, Mr. West? Good morning, love bug. How you doing? Yeah, this is just not my thing. All this death and destruction. I love peace. I love yeah, if I don't have to like you, you don't have to like me, but in the same breath, I'm never gonna hurt you, and you shouldn't want to hurt me. That's just the way I live my life. That's how I feel comfortable living my life. I'm not plotting for hurt nobody. I hope you're not plotting for hurt me. Thank you for that bracelet, my love. I appreciate you. You understand? But all of this religion business, I'm not into it. Because when you read this Bible and you see all of this death and destruction, you have to ask yourself, then which God them I tell me about? How this God endorse all of this? But it is out of the Bible it come from. Thank you, Mr. West. I appreciate you, love bug. I appreciate you. I hope you're having a great morning. Yes, so we're going to continue, beautiful people. We are going. Stephen, what's up? Good morning. Yeah, we are going to continue with this reading here. We are on to chapter 49 on Jeremiah, verse 33. He says, and Hazor shall be a dwelling for dragons. Now listen to this now. He said, remember, I know, he says, thus saith the Lord. All right. And Hazor shall be a dwelling for dragons and a desolation forever. There shall no man abide there, nor any son of man dwell in it. The word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah the prophet against Elam in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, saying, all right, so this was before Zedekiah was killed, because remember them, it killed Zedekiah and pluck out his eyes, okay? If you all were following the story. So when Zedekiah was alive, Jeremiah had gotten this prophecy against Elam. The prophecy goes like this. Thus said the Lord, this is what the Lord, he said to him. Behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. So Elam was the chief of Hazor. You know, so I have to write as me go along. And Jeremiah had gotten this prophecy, he claimed, back in the days when Zedekiah was alive. And upon Elam will I bring the four winds from the four quarters of heaven, and will scatter them towards all those winds. And there shall no nation, whether the outcasts of Elam, shall not come. Bring some what's up. For I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies, and before them that seek their life. And I will bring evil. I will bring evil upon them, even my fierce anger, saith the Lord. And I will send the sword after them till I have consumed them. And I will set my throne in Elam, and will destroy from thence the king and the princes, saith the Lord. But it shall come to pass in the latter days that I will bring again the captivity of Elam, saith the Lord. So here Jeremiah say, him did get this a prophecy long time. Him did get this a prophecy long time about Elam and Azor, yeah? That God was going to destroy them and bring them to utter destruction. Winsome, good morning, lovely. How are you doing? We're moving on to chapter 50 of the book of Jeremiah. Me say, God say, Jeremiah gonna give me a heart attack, and I really true because believe me, it is nothing but despair and destruction over here with Jeremiah. In chapter 50, he says, The word that the Lord spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Now listen to this now. Stephen, you all listen to this. Behold, he among the nations, and publish, and set up a standard, publish and conceal not. Say, Babylon is taken, Bel is confounded. Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken into pieces. For out of the north there comes up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both men and beast. In those days, and in that time, saith the Lord, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping, they shall go and seek the Lord their God. They shall ask the way to Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, Come, and let us join ourselves to the Lord in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten. My people hath been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting places. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries said, We offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord, the habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of their fathers. Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the goats before the flocks. For, lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man, none shall return in vain. And Chaldea shall be a spoil, all that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord. Because he were glad, because he rejoiced, O he destroyers of mine inheritance, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls. Your mother shall be sore confounded, she that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hithermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Every one that goes by Babylon shall be astonished, and hiss at all her plagues. But that put themselves in array against Babylon round about, all he that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord. No. So Babylon has sinned against the Lord. Wasn't it just now that Jeremiah said God said he was using Babylon to destroy Israel and destroy all the other countries around, but Israel in particular? Didn't he say God said the children of Israel were supposed to surrender and go peacefully and go serve Nebuchadnezzar? So now he's turning back around now, and now he's destroying. He's going to destroy Babylon. The story doesn't seem right. It really does sound like one of those stories, like maybe like a modern day novelist would write, where the story has a lot of twists and turn. And when you think the man is going to live happily with his wife, then you find out that the wife is not a woman, it's a man, and the story twists around there. So again, you know, you know those novels you read and they give you all the twists and turns. Well, well, it seems like one of those stories. But let us continue. He said, "Shout against her round about. She hath given her hand, her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of the Lord. Take vengeance upon her as she hath done. Do unto her." All right. So the Lord says, seem like, oh, um, Babylon had caused destruction. So now he's ordering destruction on her. Cut off the sower. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handeth the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn every one to his people, and they shall flee every one to his own land. Israel, Israel is as a scattered sheep. Of course, yes. You know, say you was using Nebuchadnezzar as your servant to destroy Israel. The people them run for their life. People they are Egypt. People they are Moab. Them they are Ammon. Them they are Edom. Them they are Assyria. Them they are Babylon. Them the people are all over the place. All over the place as they try to escape your wrath on Israel. So now you are saying Israel is scattered. The Israelites are scattered all over the place. Of course, yes, the people have been running for their lives. And those who are not scattered are dead. So let me hear what you have got to say about that now. No, hold on there. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven them away. First, the king of Assyria had devoured him. And last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had broken his bones. And God, and the God of Israel has stood by and watched all of this that has happened to the people. Hold on there. May I get one? All right, all right, I am back. I am back, beautiful people. I just had to take care of that at this time of the morning. Yeah, so so let us continue. Lock, what's up? What you doing? Me say when sometimes the chat them kind of long. Sure, what do you, man? Anyway, let us continue. Hear what Jeremiah got to say here. All right. So Jeremiah says, God said, therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel. Behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land, as I have punished the king of Assyria. And I will bring Israel again to his habitation, and he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead. Mr. AG, what's up? Me still not get the point of why God was so angry that he had to utterly destroy Israel in the first place, only to now claim that he's going to now destroy Babylon and allow Israel to be reestablished. I don't get the point of it, but we're going to continue reading. In verse 20, in those days and in that time, saith the Lord, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none. And the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found. And I will pardon them whom I reserve. No. Uno hear this now. So uno hear this now. So God are going to re-establish Israel. He might go destroy. Make we go back from the beginning. So God's so angry at Israel because him said them a worship Baal. Them gone far from him. Them reject him and gone to worship Baal. He's so angry at them that his response to them rejecting him is that he's going to destroy Israel utterly, void it of any human beings. Him burn it down, him cause Nebuchadnezzar to come up and burn it down. Slay the people, who him not take captive, him slay, some get to run away, whatever. That was God's response for the people rejecting him, right? Now, God is saying he's going to now destroy Babylon, make Babylon desolate, just like he had done to Israel. And he's going to bring the Israelites back to Israel. And when anybody are going to look for them transgression, they shall see none. That makes sense too, no? Because number one, the people who left Israel are not the people who are going to return. And if the people who he caused to have left, to have gone into Babylon, had any little loyalty to their foreparents, when it comes to this doctrine, the people who are now, who can now claim to be Israelites, they can now claim lineage. I'm going to say their blood is now corrupted, because remember Jeremiah tell them said it was okay to go married to Babylonians and make Babylonians married to them and have children. So the purity of their lineage is no longer there. And not just genetically, but also religiously. Put your what's up. So now these people are going to come now to inhabit Israel, and they are going to be without transgression. Anybody is going to look for any transgression of theirs is going to find none. Seriously? Seriously. Let us continue. He says, in those days and in that time, saith the Lord, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none, and the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found. For I will pardon them whom I reserve. Why him couldn't did pardon them Why him couldn't did pardon them before him allow Babylon to come take them, come destroy them? Why him couldn't did pardon them then? Go up against the land of Merathaim, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pedok. Waste and utterly destroy after them, said the Lord, and do according to all that I have commanded thee. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation amongst the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found, and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. You know, hear the Lord say, him set a snare. That was a snare that he had set for Babylon. So the Lord out here setting snares for people, traps and tricks for people. That's ungodly too, no? That's why I know so when people are say, Lord, 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 and them wicked. Who did? Say what now? Say what now? Not ask so. Anyway, we're going to talk about that off the ear. Yeah. Oh! Girl! Okay. I got you. I got you. When me done, me go look that book. Me go look up that. So she just tell me that Usain Bolt's father passed away. I'm so sorry. But I've been here waiting all morning for see Joseph. Joseph, you know, say from morning, me there wait for see you. From morning, me wake up with you upon my mind, you know, Joseph. From morning, me wake up with you upon my mind. And here you come to make my day even brighter. Thank you, Jojo. What's up, my love? All right. So, on the ears, I got out here setting snares and plots for people. Now, he says he had laid a snare and a plot for Babylon, and Babylon end up falling in it. The Lord hath opened his armory. You don't know what is an armory, right? When keeping weapons. The Lord has opened an armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord God of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Come against her from the utmost border. Open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Slay all her bullocks. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their days come, the time of their visitation, the voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of the Lord our God, the vengeance of his temple. Call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow. Camp against it round about. Let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she hath done. Do unto her. For she hath been proud against the Lord, against the Holy One of Israel. Of course, yes, she was proud. Of course, yes. Babylon was proud of the destruction they had enacted on Israel. Of course, yes. Why wouldn't they have been? Jeremiah said, how did God send them? You remember? So, of course, yes, they were proud to have been able to destroy these people of God. So now God has created vengeance against them. So who was lying, people? No, talk to me. You don't think Jeremiah was lying? You don't come to the conclusion yet that Jeremiah is a crook? You don't come to the conclusion yet? All right. All right, let me keep on reading. Therefore shall our young men fall in the streets, And all our men of war shall be cut off in that day, said the Lord. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, said the Lord God of hosts. For thy day is come, and the time that I will visit thee. And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. Thus said the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. And all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Jeremiah is a piece of crap. Jeremiah is something else. Jeremiah say all who take Israel captive refuse to let them go. Wasn't Jeremiah the same man preaching, telling the people them so they must go peacefully? And him say God did to them to go peacefully. So if them to go peacefully, I mean by the people that refuse to let them go. Like, even if the people said go back, do you think they would have gone back? Considering how loyal these people were, and Jeremiah telling them, say God said they must go. Now we might go come around here so with him gaslight himself come talk about all the people that refuse to let the children of Israel go. Like, seriously? Their Redeemer is strong. The Lord of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. A sword is upon the Chaldeans, said the Lord, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. A sword is upon the liars. Jeremiah more should that twist. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon her almighty. Thank you. God, you have to see how me jump. You have to see how me jump with fright. OMG. Thank you, sis. Let us continue. Jeremiah said, a sword is upon the liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her. Oh, you hear that? Jesus, my God, Jeremiah wicked. Jeremiah wicked. Remember, Sir Jeremiah tell the people them say, God say, them for go and go marry, go give their children to marry to the Babylonians and take the Babylonian children. All right. Now Jeremiah said, the sword is upon the mingled people. All the mingled people that are in the midst of her, and they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. Uno remember say, those, that's what I'm telling you, say, Jesus, me love reading, but me love reading the Bible. I me love reading the Bible, like reading a whole full book, so that me get the gist of exactly what is being said there. And me get the whole storyline. Now, Jeremiah is saying that the people are, the mingled people. Those now would be the people who have one parent Babylonian and one parent Israelite. Them the people that now are now considered outcasts. If you all remember when we were reading about Nehemiah. If you remember when we read the story of Nehemiah, and after we read Jeremiah, I think we're going to go to Nehemiah. If you all remember when we read the story of Nehemiah and how King Artaxerxes has sent Nehemiah to go rehabilitate Israel, to go rebuild Jerusalem. You all remember that when he sent out the word to call all the men from faraway countries to come and help rebuild Jerusalem? Do you all remember that he told the men who were married to like Babylonian women? He told them that they could not bring back their Babylonian wives and children. Unu remember? Unu remember? Nehemiah told the people that they could not bring back their Babylonian wives and children. He wanted men to come help rebuild Jerusalem, but he wanted men who could show, who could prove that they were descendants of Jacob. They could prove their lineage. But the mixed children, he never want the mixed children back, and he did not want the Babylonian wives. I want to tell me, so this a guardian ain't racist. And someone really and truly want to convince me. Say this your God is or was at any point for everybody. Him never did racist. I know me not convinced, but I don't care, I'm convincing myself. So I'm make me go and read right here. So he said them, he called them the mingled people. So the mingled people were not allowed. Lord Jesus, I guess it would be the colored people. The mingled people. Lord help me soul. He says here, let me read this again, verse 37 of chapter 50 of the book of Jeremiah. A sword is upon their horses and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her, and they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. A drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up. And they shall be dried up, for it is the land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. They are mad, and they are mad upon their idols of graven images. It is the land of graven images. The same graven images that made God so furious that he could no longer even see the children of Israel as his people. He was so angry with them that he had to destroy them, and in destroying them, he had to allow one of their greatest enemies, as in Babylon, to come and destroy them. That's how angry he was. And now he's saying he's destroying Babylon because Babylon worship idols. Make it make sense. Therefore, the wild beasts of the desert, with the wild beasts of the islands, shall dwell there, and the owls shall dwell there, and it shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. As God overthrows Sodom and Gomorrah, and the neighboring cities thereof, saith the Lord, so shall no man live there, neither shall any son of man dwell there. Behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel, and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one put in array, like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. The king of Babylon hath heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs of a woman in labor. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan unto the inhabitation of the strong. But I will make them suddenly run away from her. And who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her? For who is like me? And who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? Andrea said, that's an executive order signed and sealed. That's an executive order signed and sealed. You are right. You are so you are so right. Let us continue. He says, therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord, that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purposes, that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. This is very, very, very interesting, I tell you, my friends. Very interesting. Okay? Let us continue. Chapter 51. Thus saith the Lord. And always remember, when I say thus saith the Lord, please understand that according to Jeremiah, this is your Lord speaking. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind, and will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Against him that bends, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifted himself up is in his brigandine. And spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her host. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in the street. And when he says those that are thrust through, it means those that get gored with the sword. Okay. For Israel had not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God, of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul, but not cut off in her iniquity. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be it, she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reaches unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. The Lord hath brought forth our righteousness. Come, and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our God. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambush. Prepare the ambush. For the Lord hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself, saying, Surely I will fill thee with men, as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. He hath made the earth by his power. He hath established the world by his wisdom, and hath stretched out the heaven by his understanding. When he utters his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens, and he caused the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He makes lightnings with rain, and brings forth the wind out of his treasures. Every man is brutish by his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, the works of errors. In the time of their visitation they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms, and with thee will I break in pieces the horses and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee will I break in pieces old and young, and with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid, and will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock, and with thee will I break in pieces the husband and his yoke of oxen, and with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers, and I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith the Lord. Lord, help me so. Wanna hear that? Now, this is another measure of confusion. Why is this a measure of confusion? In the earlier chapters of Jeremiah said the Lord was using the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, as his servant to go up and destroy Israel. So clearly, according to Jeremiah, the Lord was orchestrating this destruction and the dimensions of this destruction. The Lord was orchestrating. So how comes now he's going to say the Lord is destroying Babylon because of all that it had done to Israel? That makes sense too, no? That means that the God then a two-mouth cutlass. How many Jamaican people them there? Yeah, man. That means that God a two-mouth cutlass. Because he built up Babylon into believing that Babylon was he was on Babylon's side, allowing them to destroy Israel, and then he turn around now and say, "Oh, me I go destroy you because of what you do to Israel." So somebody is not telling the truth here. Yeah, same thing with some say I tell lie upon God. Exactly. That would sound more like the truth, Winsome. Yeah, that would sound more like the truth. Him I tell lie. Seriously. But let us continue. Let us continue. He says, "Behold, I am against you, O destroying mountain, said the Lord, which destroyed all the earth, and I will stretch out my hand upon you, and roll you down from the rocks, and will make you a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of you a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith the Lord. Set ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Minni, Ashkenaz, appoint a captain against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Prepare against her the nations with the king of the Medes, and captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. Hold on, let me see what Andrea says. So, Jeremiah orchestrated the deception, the betrayal, the hatred of mankind. Exactly. Jeremiah is crazy. All right. I said it many times that Jeremiah was the author of this destruction of Israel. If the story ever happened, Jeremiah was the author of it. He was the architect of this whole destruction. He was. Let us continue. He says, prepare against her the nations with the kings of Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might have failed. They became as women. They have burnt her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger shall run to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken at one end, and that the passages are stopped, and the needs they have burnt, and the reeds they have burnt with fire, and the men of war are affrighted. For thus said the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her. It is time to thresh her. Yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, hath devoured me. He hath crushed me. He hath made me an empty vessel. He hath swallowed me up like a dragon. He hath filled his belly with my delicates. He hath cast me out. The violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babylon, shall the be upon Babylon, shall the inhabitant of Zion say. So here is going to be the lamenting of the children of Israel, that this is what Babylon had done to them. And my blood upon the inhabitants of Chaldea. That's what the children of Jerusalem shall say. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will plead thy cause. I will plead thy cause and take vengeance for thee, and I will dry up her sea and make her springs dry. And Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragons, an astonishment and a hissing, without an inhabitant. Mikey, bless up your ice cream self. Good morning, sis. So, the same desolation and destruction that God caused on the Israelites, because he was mad, because they worshipped other gods, is the same destruction he's going to cause on Babylon. Make it make sense. But let us continue. I know me say it, people, me only I read it from the good book. Only I read it to read what's in the good book. They shall roar together like lions. They shall yell as lions' whelps. In their heat, I will make their feasts, and I will make them drunken, that they may rejoice and sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, said the Lord. What am I going to do? Them. Okay? I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams with he goats. How is Sheshach taken? How is Sheshach taken? And how is the praise of the whole earth surprised? How is Babylon become an astonishment among the nations? The sea is come up upon Babylon. She is covered with the multitude of the waves thereof. Her cities are a desolation, a dry land, and a wilderness, a land wherein no man dwell, neither doth any son of man pass thereby. And I will punish Bel in Babylon, and I will bring forth out of his mouth that which he had swallowed up, and the nations shall now flow together, and will not flow together any more unto him. Yea, the wall of Babylon shall fall. My people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord. Unless your heart faint, and ye fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. Therefore, behold, the days come that I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babylon, and her whole land shall be confounded, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her. Then the heaven and the earth and all that is therein shall sing for Babylon. For the spoilers shall come unto her from the north, said the Lord. As Babylon has caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the earth. He that hath escaped the sword, go away, stand not still. Remember the Lord afar off, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. We are confounded, because we have heard reproach. Shame hath covered our faces, for strangers are come into the sanctuaries of the Lord's house. Wherefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will do judgment upon her graven images, and through all her land the wounded shall groan. Though Babylon shall mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify the height of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers come unto her, saith the Lord. A sound of a cry comes from Babylon, and great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans. Because the Lord hath spoiled Babylon, and destroyed out of her the great voice. When her waves do roar like great waters, a noise of her voice is uttered. Because the spoiler is come upon her, even upon Babylon, and her mighty men are taken, every one of their bows is broken, for the Lord God of recompense shall surely requite. And I will make drunk her princes, and her wise men, her captains, and her rulers, and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, saith the King, whose name is the Lord of hosts. And on me say it, it's the Bible. Let us continue. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the broad walls of Babylon shall be utterly broken, and her high gates shall be burnt with fire, and the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary. The word which Jeremiah the prophet commanded Seraiah, the son of Neriah, the son of Maaseiah, when he went with Zedekiah the king of Judah into Babylon in the 4th year of his reign. And this Seraiah was a quiet prince. So Jeremiah wrote in a book all the evil that should come upon Babylon, even all these words that are written against Babylon. And Jeremiah said to Seraiah, when thou comest to Babylon, and shalt see, and shalt read all these words, then shalt thou say, O Lord, thou hast spoken against this place, to cut it off, that none shall remain in it, neither man nor beast, but that it shall be desolate forever. And it shall be, when thou hast made an end of reading this book, that thou shalt bind a stone to it and cast it into the midst of Euphrates. If I laugh or cry. Jeremiah said, when Shariah come read the book that him write, when he done read it, he dash in at the Euphrates. Why you think Jeremiah want them to dash with the book? Wanna tell me, people, why y'all think Jeremiah would want them for dash with his writings when they read it? When Sherry read the book, he want him to dash it to big glad Euphrates. Because Jeremiah knows say. On a serious note though. On a serious note, me not laugh. Me serious as a judge. Why on a thing say Jeremiah wanted when Sharia read the book him for dash where the book where him right? That is because all these things that Jeremiah would have written in the book, he knows that once somebody read these writings, they are going to have questions about Jeremiah. Jeremiah don't want them to question his reputation. Jeremiah wanted to remain in history that he was the best prophet. He was one of the greatest to ever lived. He was a true prophet. He was a righteous man, and everything he did was according to the works and the words of the Lord. Why would such a brave man, such a great man, such a great prophet, a prophet who had been working so closely with God, why would he not want his writings to remain so that it can be of use to future generations? Why would he? Why would I want him writings forget dash when at the river? Anyway, y'all think about that. And it shall be, when thou hast made an end of reading this book, that thou shalt bind a stone to it. Bind a stone to it, and cast it into the midst of Euphrates. And thou shalt say, thus shall Babylon sink, and shall not rise from the evil that I will bring upon her. And they shall be weary. Thus far are the words of Jeremiah. I'm going to make me continue reading here. Let me continue reading. This is the last chapter of the book of Jeremiah for today. Tomorrow we will start with the lamentation. But let us read the last chapter, chapter 52 of the book of Jeremiah. Now, Zedekiah. I don't know how it gone back to Zedekiah, but remember, when some say, cause I just lie, him a lie, of course, yes. A lie am I telling in the book, of course, yes, Winsome. All these lies what I'm tell, all these twist and turn stories, All of this destruction, why I'm saying at the name of the Lord, all of this where I say setting traps and all this scamming and all this thing that Jeremiah doing. That's why I'm want to be in book for beach one at the river, in the middle of the river Euphrates. Zedekiah, verse in chapter 52. Zedekiah was one and hold on. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah, of Libnah. Now remember, that was a different Jeremiah, right? So yeah, that was a different Jeremiah, because remember, this Jeremiah who is doing the right thing, he said God told him he wasn't to have any wife or any children because of all the destruction that God was planning to do to Israel. He didn't want him to experience all of that. So that is why God told him not to have any children or any wife. So now this Zedekiah now was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 11 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Amutal. She was the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. Okay. And he did that which was evil in the eyes of the Lord, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. For through the anger of the Lord it came to pass in Jerusalem and Jeremiah. Let me read that again. Verse 3 says, For through the anger of the Lord it came to pass in Jerusalem and Judah, till he had cast them out from his presence, that Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. Of course, yes, Zedekiah rebelled. And remember what they did to Zedekiah? Them pluck out in eye them and kill him. Okay. And it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came, he and all his army, against Jerusalem, and pitched against it, and built forts against it round about. So the city was besieged unto the 11th year of King Zedekiah. And in the 4th month, in the 9th day of the month, the famine was sore in the city, so that there was no bread for the people of the land. Then the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled, and went forth out of the city by night, by the way of the gate between the two walls, which was by the king's garden. Now the Chaldeans were by the city round about, and they went by the way of the plain. But the army of the Chaldeans pursued after the king and overtook. Let's continue. Oh, this here. Okay, let us continue. Then the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled, and went forth out of the city by night, by the way of the gate between the two walls, which was by the king's garden. Now the Chaldeans were by the city round about, and they went by the way of the plain. But the army of the Chaldeans pursued after the king, and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho, and all his army was scattered from him. Then they took the king, and carried him up unto the king of Babylon to Riblah in the land of Hamath, where he gave judgment upon him. And the king of Babylon slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes. He slew also all the princes of Judah in Riblah. Oh, your ear said the river Euphrates dry up now. That's something here. Then he pluck out the eyes of Zedekiah, and the king of Babylon bound Zedekiah in chains, and carried him to Babylon, and put him in prison till the day of his death. Now in the 5th month, in the 10th day of the month, which was the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, which served the king of Babylon, into Jerusalem. Because remember, after Nebuchadnezzar destroyed Jerusalem, he put Nebuzaradan as the captain and Gedaliah as the governor. All right. He says here, and burnt the house of the Lord, and the house and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and all the houses of the great men, burnt he with fire. And all the army of the Chaldeans that were with the captain of the guard brake down all the walls of Jerusalem round about. Then Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive certain of the poor of the people, and the residue of the people that remained in the city, and those that fell away, that fell to the king of Babylon, and the rest of the multitude. But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left certain of the poor of the land for wine dressers and for husbandry. Okay? So you know the little people them fit tend to the little bit of vines, grapevines that were left, and the two little animals that would have survived the onslaught. After the pillars of brass, that were in the house of the Lord, and the bases, and the brassen sea that was in the house of the Lord, the Chaldeans, they broke everything, and they carried all the brass of them to Babylon. The cauldrons also, the shovels, the snuffers, the bowls, the spoons, the vessels that were made of brass, wherein they ministered, they took them all away. And the basins, and the firepans, and the bowls, and the cauldrons, and the candlesticks, and the spoons, and the cups, that which was of gold, and that which was of silver, took the captain of the guard away. The two pillars, one sea, and 12 brazen bulls that were under the bases, which King Solomon had made in the house of the Lord. The brass of all these vessels was without weight, and concerning the pillars, the height of one pillar was 18 cubits, and the fillet of 12 cubits did compass it, and the thickness thereof was 4 fingers. It was hollow. And a chapiter of brass was upon it, and the height of one chapiter was 5 cubits, with network and pomegranates upon the chapiters round about, all of brass. The second pillar also, and the pomegranates were like unto these. And there were 96 pomegranates on one side, and all the pomegranates upon the network were 100 round about. And the captain of the guard took Seraiah the chief priest, and Zephaniah the second priest, and the 3 keepers of the door. These were the people who were guarding the house in Jerusalem, the house of the Lord in Jerusalem. And this captain of the guard, Nebuzaradan, he now, Jeremiah is saying, was responsible for breaking down all of these items in the house of the Lord, and taking all the valuables, and slaying all the people who were guarding them. He took also out of the city a eunuch. He took out of the city a eunuch, which had the charge of the men of war, and 7 men of them that were near the king's person, which were found in the city, and the principal scribe of the host, who mastered the people of the land, who mustered How may I say things? Who mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land that were found in the midst of the city. So Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took them and brought them to the king of Babylon in Riblah. And the king of Babylon killed them. He put them to death in Riblah in the land of Hamath. Thus Judah was carried away captive out of his own land. This is the people whom Nebuchadnezzar carried away captive in the 7th year, 3,000 Jews. You want to hear that? In the 7th year, 3,000 Jews and 3,023 Jews, because it's written in the Bible, it said 3,000 Jews and 3 and 20, but that is not how we talk. It's 3,023 Jews were carried away into Babylon at this time. In the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, he carried away captive from Jerusalem 832 persons. In the I got to read ahead here. In the 23rd year of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive of the Jews 745 persons. All the persons were 4,600. And it came to pass in the 37th year of the captivity of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in the 12th month, in the 25th day of the month, that evil Merodach, king of Babylon, in the 1st year of his reign, lifted up the head of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and brought him forth out of prison. God said 2,300. Something like that. And verse 32, he says, and spake kindly unto him. So here now is a new king. This is a new king of Babylon. His name is Evil, Evil dash Merodach, Merodach. So this new king now has arisen over Babylon. His name is Evil Merodach. In his 1st year, he took out Jehoiakim out of prison. Remember, Jehoiakim was a king of Judah who was thrown into prison by Nebuchadnezzar. So now this new king of Babylon has taken Jehoiakim out of prison and spake kindly unto him, and set his throne above the throne of the kings that were with him in Babylon, and changed his prison garments. And he did continually eat bread before him all the days of his life. And for his diet there was a continual diet given him of the king of Babylon, every day a portion, until the day of his death, all the days of his life. That is the end of the reading of the book of Jeremiah. I'm sure there are some things missing that might come up in the book of Lamentation. I am not sure, but we can talk about what went on in the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah, as I tell you, was a crooked one, and this proves it. All that Jeremiah had done to those people in the name of the Lord, Jeremiah himself knew that it was wrong. He knew what he did to the people was wicked and it was cruel. And here now Jeremiah is saying that Shariah should read this book that he is writing, and he he is telling when Sharia should be done with reading this book. If you tie one rockstone upon the book and fling the book in at the middle of the Euphrates. That's another reason to question the supposed greatness of Jeremiah. That's another reason to question Jeremiah's behavior during this time. That's another reason to question Jeremiah's loyalty to his people. That's another reason to question Christianity's belief that Jeremiah was one of the greatest prophets to ever live. He wasn't. Clearly, Jeremiah was a crook, was a cruel one. But at 9 o'clock, that is where we are going to end the reading for today. We will continue with the reading tomorrow morning. Yeah, tomorrow morning we will continue with the reading. We will start with the book of Lamentation, because Lamentation is also the writings of Jeremiah. Roy, what's up? Yeah, it's also the writings of Jeremiah. So we will continue to hear some more of what he has to say. All right. So that's where we're going to end for this morning. When we come back later, if we are able to come back later, we will continue. We will continue with the reading of the Bible. Remember, some buy it, as some sell it. I don't put no brought up on it. What you hear me reading is straight out of the Bible. It is not out of my mind. And of me, me don't make up no story here. Okay, beautiful people? All right, so that's going to be it from me for now. Until next time, my friends, this is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. Have yourselves a great day, everybody, and I'll see you all later. Later, Roy. Tomorrow morning, it's going to be same time. I usually start anytime between, say, 5:30. Anytime between, say, 5:30 and 6 o'clock, we will start the reading. Okay? We're going to start the reading of Lamentation tomorrow. All right? Okay, my love. That's going to be it for now. See you later, beautiful people. Win some. Hold on. Let me promise win some. I'm going to text her.